the marriage to a lazy person, how would I, is the beginning of forfeited dreams. You understand? It's the beginning. They kill your productivity. They discourage your initiative. When you refuse to do it, they kill you. The first murder in the Bible was, apart from malice, it was a lazy offering by Cain. And he got offended because his brother did more than he did. His own was accepted. Laziness breeds that envious state. Now, I don't want to, we have a little to do today. So, like I said, I want to apologize to those non-Christians today, but I want to face the 47% that tells us and tells their spouse that it was God that told them not to work. That, God said they should go into ministry. God said, we're going to call somebody. You hear something you've never heard before. Yes, I really need to rush now. So now, I would not even address the jobless or the lazy ones. I want to address those of you that support the jobless and lazy ones, the lazy relatives and friends, those of you who remain in relationships that are one-sided in initiative and responsibility, those of you who are saddled with the responsibilities of the household, or father's house or your family, those that are in friendships that are one-sided, where the initiatives, ideas and support comes from you alone, those of you who are responsible financially for the welfare of friends, family and spouses. It is you that I want to talk to, not even the jobless ones. Now, King Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, also known as King Lemuel. Funny enough, people do not realize that Solomon means man of peace, while Lemuel means devoted to God. So, Solomon described man in the book of Proverbs in 3 categories. First, the wise. Now, the wise is described by Solomon as a man, not that they are full of wisdom, but are willing to learn and always seek to understand things. Peculiar to them is the fear of conscience. They always have that conscience. They fear a supernatural being. The second classification of man is the fool. That is, not that they don't have an education or wisdom, but they believe that what they know is enough for them for their lifetime, so they are not willing to learn beyond what they know. They believe that what they know is knowledge, and these kind of people are very resistant to change. They do not regard conscience. Now, the third part, according to Solomon, are the simple. Now, the simple are in between the wise and the foolish. They are those that cannot decide but are easily imposed on. They do not move by their ideas but are driven more by public opinion. They fear what people will say. Their decisions in life are usually made for them. The contemporary definition, according to Oxford, a simple person in English is referred to as a simpleton when you want to describe a simple person. The English word for that is a simpleton. Now, the Oxford Dictionary describes a simpleton as a foolish or gullible person. Merriam-Webster defines a simpleton as a foolish or stupid person. It goes further to say that a simpleton is a person lacking in common sense. Cambridge Dictionary defines a simpleton as a person without the ability to use their own reason and to understand. Funny enough, the word simpleton also means meek. That is the word meek, M-E-E-K. So this became a problem when I saw the word meek, because I knew Moses was the meekest man ever to live according to the Bible. So I went to check the meaning of meek itself. It means enduring injury with patience, without resentment. They are deficient in spirit and courage. The Cambridge Dictionary also defines a meek person as gentle, quiet, not willing to argue or express their opinion in a forceful way. Dictionary.com describes meek as overly submissive. The vocabulary.com defines meek as a person willing to go along with whatever people are willing to do to them and for them. Collins Dictionary defines meek as patient in long suffering, spineless, spiritless, and compliant. That was where I was now like, all this to describe the meekness of Moses, because I thought that was a good trait. So I went to check in Hebrew the kind of meekness that Moses had. Because I felt that what meek meant in this contemporary dictionary could not have been the same with the meek referred to in the Bible, when it described Moses as the meekest man. So I saw that the Hebrew word for meek in the Bible is anaw, that is A-N-A-W, which refers to someone who is afflicted by bearing a burden. So you see that even in the Bible, it refers to them as bearing other people's burdens. Now, Moses never complained to God about the grief Miriam and Aaron caused him. He simply chose to bear their burden. The meek disposition of Moses was all over the book of Exodus, where he wore himself out, trying to help everyone solve their problem. In spite of this, he never complained. And throughout, no matter how it affected him personally, he kept bearing their burden. Now, what happened? He went to the mountain, got the 10 Commandments. God himself wrote on a tablet. And when he came down, his brother had made a golden calf. He was so angry, he smashed the 10 Commandments. God got furious. What happened again? He would do something, next thing, they would start complaining. Why did you bring us out of Egypt? Why did you? He just kept bearing. God got angry. Let me destroy these people. Moses said, no, if you destroy them, people will say you brought us out from Egypt only to destroy us. And Moses kept pleading and pleading and pleading. Eventually, they complained that there was no water. The way they complained was not like, please, there's no water. It was like they had water in Egypt. Why did you bring us out? And then, Moses was angry again, and God said, hit this rock. More like tap the rock. He got angry because of the burden he had been bearing and struck the rock. Now that was what God had reached his elastic limit with Moses. Because he always bore the burdens of other people, what would have been a miracle to him became his condemnation. Because he struck that rock, look at the end of Moses, he never entered the promised land. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what will happen to those of you always carrying the burdens of others. You encourage them to the detriment of your own progress. The monies you should have used to raise your own children, make a better life, you would be carrying people like, he's my uncle, but they are lazy, they refuse to work, and you feel like it is your it is your sweat.
So firstly, what I noticed is, since when you were explaining types of lazy people and jobless people, you said something about there are some types of men or women who do not have the willingness to work.
Yes.
I said something about, okay, there could be prospects. You said there's nothing like prospect because you can't see prospects, you can't touch it, right? And there are so many ideas in the world. Someone can just download. Now, so in her case, I could see that the man did not have any willingness to work, right? And he didn't want to. At some point, he now also became entitled to the fact that my family gave you an opportunity to work, so now you have to go out there and work and feed me.
You know the problem. Let us start from the beginning of the problem. The beginning of the problem was that he was in the village, and a man would be driving a car to the village, giving you a business card or to an office that does not belong to him. Now saying that God told him. The general superintendent of that church said that it was his own idea, not that it was in the Bible. Now, they did not allow her interact with this man. They did not allow her go to see where this man was living. Do you understand? Then marriage, she's just thrust into it, and she sees that he doesn't have job, he doesn't have a house, he was staying somewhere, no toilet and bath, that she would have seen only if they had allowed her to even visit this man to see.
Yes.
And that is the manipulation that really, how do you want to give your life over to someone that you don't know where he lives? You haven't been to his office to see what he just explains to them, that God has told me this, and that is the end of the matter. You know, we don't have time. Let me move on to Madam Busbus. So tell me, what happened? What happened?
So last year he said he wanted to actually infiltrate me to say, if you can sponsor our daughter to school, let our daughter wait another extra while. So give me that money so that I can start. And I said, no, let us not go to school. So
he wanted to take the money for the education of the daughter. Wait, let us even go back. Let us go back. You dated him for how long?
Don't not to a year.
Active dating or long distance relationship?
Okay, so when we're dating, yeah, he buys dates, and at the point I asked him, what do you mean, what's going on? He said, does not have money in the account. And I said, what happened? He said, he lost his brother and used the money for prayer.
He used the whole money for the burial of his brother.
And because I was naive, I was and I noticed again he was still living with his parents about 40 years. That's another sign.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, so why are you living with your parents? Because, you know, you just feel like staying there. And I said, I can't get married in your parents. He says I can get an apartment, but I should just manage with me. So we got a room, face my apartment.
This face me.
With a fixed toilet. And the first time my mom came to say hello to me, I was like, what? Is this where my daughter stays? No. So our first self-contained, my mother paid for the house. So we had to move. We had to move. My mother paid, I think the first year and the second year, I guess. I can't remember. So we moved.
Wait, you all gone. You gone. You did not see the place you were going to move into.
Okay, he said I should manage. I saw it. So he said I should manage that things will get better. And I said, it's fine. We started with my TV from school. So I had to bring my TV from school. I had to bring my cutlery.
And he was 40.
He was 40 at that time. So, you know, I didn't know. Okay, so it's from school to house to church. I don't have a social life. I don't know what's going on. I just stay school, church, house, and, you know, and we church people, you know, you have to.
I'm looking at you because I feel like.
So let's even assume that I made a mistake. Let's even assume I made a mistake to assist my husband. He wasn't working. I was doing everything. Okay, because I refused to sell the house that I built because, like I said last week, I gave you 5 million to start a business, and I said, okay, so this money, take a pen to the paper, write down your ideas. So bad, I know how to spend it. Anyway, the idea is in my head, and so I don't cost you that. It's because you borrow me the money. People take your money and say, no, I'm not borrowing. I'm giving you to because we wanted to do a land or something, but in 1 month the money finished. So I said I should go and borrow another 3 million because we couldn't complete the project. And I said, I can't borrow loan. I can't take another loan and all of that. So he said, okay, go and sell that house for me. Whatever you have is my own. Whatever I have is your own. So I said no. I stood my ground and he said, if you can't sell the house, you can't continue. I said, please now. So in the middle of the night, maybe around before 6, I noticed he packed all his clothes and he left. I was still crying and like I took my stand. I was baking and all of that. So before I came back from work one day, they had taken the TV, the DSTV, the generator. He left and he dropped, you know, that he's coming back to feed the fridge. If I don't drop the key, he will break the door. So
wait, who bought all this thing? Wait, who? All those things he took belonged to him, right?
I don't think it belongs to me.
Why would you not say that? Who bought it?
He bought some at the point when he was working. I bought some.
Okay, so it was like a
so
combination
he took his own plus
properties.
your own.
I wouldn't even say. Okay, so let's even assume it's his own. So he left. Then after 2 months, he went to the children's school, told them to beg me. His friends went to our pastor, they begged, they used the scripture to beg me, rubbish me, and all of that. And I said, okay, let him come back. So in 6 days, he started this pressure again. And
Wait, when he came back, did he bring the generator and all those things?
Yes, he brought them
Yes.
back. But the car he went with, he sold it because he needed to survive. So where he was staying, they were giving him 1-day meal. They weren't putting on gin because he couldn't stand eat. So I think money got exhausted and he had to come back like a prodigal son. And you know, church will rubbish me and all of that. So he came back and
when you say rubbish you, what do you mean?
Let's just leave it at that. So and my siblings were not even happy that and I took him back. I didn't tell them. Everybody was just so I couldn't complain. I was in pain. If I'm coming home, I'm always like, hey, I'm going into that trouble because he always abuse me, he would insult me, I pay the bills, I do everything. So to cut it short, he called me January 16th. What's your problem? Why are you afraid of being a single mother? Because that stigma in the society. So he said, no, let's go out different ways and all of that. I said, okay, no problem. If that will make you happy, no problem, you can go. So he told me he would take some things. I said, if it will make you happy, just go.
Like you had done before.
Like he had done before. I don't have a problem with that.
Me, but I just feel like because he said something about the church will rubbish you, and we're about to ask her what he said. Let's leave it like that. Just for the sake of somebody who's going through the same thing. Exactly. Let's know what the rubbish is, so we know exactly.
The church will tell you that he had realized his mistake. He's back for good time. And as a child of God, you are not supposed to divorce because it's a sin. But if you divorce, you have to remain single for the rest of your life. If you marry, you go to a wife. So you have to be like that. So I have to stay. So now, what happened this year? So he left.
Me, I'm going to hell now because I married him. So wow, great.
So this year in March, before I came back, he had already told me that I was going to leave from work. He swept the house. Everything we had, our bed, TV, we had 2 plasma TV. At least, if not for my sake, for the children's sake, just leave 1 TV. He took the 2 plasma TV, took the washing machine, took the fridge, took the AC, took the generator, my car. He took it, and I'm like, in fact,
wait, he took the first car. Who owns the first car he took?
Is his car, but he bought it in my name.
So it is his car.
So this one is my car. Where I used to work, they gave me a car when I was leaving, an official car, so they gave me when I was leaving. So I got another job with an official car, so I can't drive 2 cars. So I said, okay, we're driving that one now. He went with it. In fact, there's a particular auntie, she's not even talking to me till tomorrow because she saw the car at the dealer. And she called me that, come on, this guy wants to sell your car, let's fight and all of that. And I said, no, I'm not ready to fight. He took everything, even the rice, my Christmas rice, I've not opened it. He carried the bag. He took my hair accessories, took my hair cream, everything. So I'm so happy.
Wait, as in your attachment, your wigs, everything?
No, my hair cream, my perf, he took them, and I'm like,
for what reason would he?
So I'm sure that he didn't come alone to pack the house. Somebody came, maybe like a female. Even the condiments for cooking, pots, the gas, the cylinder, the DSTV.
He probably said, take it all, I bought it for her.
And do you understand? So he didn't take the chair because that was a wedding gift for my mom. So I just sat down, I was so tired. I'm like, God. Thank God I used to go about with my certificates. I didn't drop it. My certificates, my house, the paper to my house, I take it all.
So you did not sell that house?
I didn't. I took my stand.
So last week, lots of people called me because of you, and they were asking that is there something that they can do for you, because when I called you, you said you did not pick my call because of pity, that you don't want that you are okay and you are not doing this because you want any support.
Yes, because I'm working. Yeah, I took a lot of loans to get back on my feet. I had a land in Mowi, a land of 4 million. I sold it for 2 million just to make sure I'll set a lot of bills. I work. I'm a graduate. I have a good job. Yeah.
You are employable, so you could stand on your feet.
Exactly. So I just I thank God I wasn't a full housewife, because at the point in the marriage he said I should be a full housewife, and I said no. Burning candles in university, I will never be a full housewife.
Well, okay, we have to go to the phone lines now.